As Trump prepares to move into the White House again, his team is looking to push back on some of his more partisan campaign promises. In the lead up to the election, Trump repeatedly said he would pardon the rioters convicted for their actions during the January 6th insurrection.
Time magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters. You said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones. At least one officer lost an eye. One had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs. Another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons? My question is on those rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
You heard Trump there, very clear as to what he would do. But yesterday, a campaign spokeswoman distanced the Trump transition team from that promise, telling NBC News that President Trump will make pardon decisions on a case-by-case basis. That mirrors what the campaign said earlier this year, when it qualified Trump's promise as only including, quote, protesters who are wrongfully imprisoned by crooked Joe Biden's Justice Department. Eugene Robinson, that's a pretty broad metric there, and certainly it wouldn't be shocking if the president-elect, once he takes office, goes, well, they were all wrongfully imprisoned.
Yeah, he could do that. I mean, the range of possibilities is from a total blanket pardon. It was a day of love, and they were all pardoned. Or no pardons, one or two. Who knows? If he's going to do it case by case, that means whim by whim in Donald Trump's world. And so we have no idea what he's going to do. The idea that this is even a thing, that this is even being considered is ridiculous and outrageous, but it's what he said he would do. And imagine, what about the cases that haven't been brought yet? Well, they're never going to get brought under Matt Gaetz if he becomes Attorney General. So this is where we are. This is what people very unfortunately voted for. He said he's going to do this, and he's going to do it.
Richard, I'm this jerk today. Apparently, the qualification, fair point, totally fair point. The qualification is not a qualification. Like in both cases where they said, oh, it's only case by case. Trump goes out and says he's going to pardon them all. The campaign says it's case by case. That is not a qualification. That's not even saying, they're not even contradicting him. All they're saying is that can be read as saying Trump's going to pardon them all on a case-by-case basis. They're not even in conflict with each other. That is classic campaign spin to make something that sounds outrageous sound less outrageous, but it doesn't in any way substantively change the fact that Trump has made very clear what his intent is. He said it multiple times during the campaign he was going to pardon them all. Is there any actual reason to suspect that Donald Trump will not pardon them all?
Only if he decides politically that it would be counterproductive to pardon them all, and he'll pardon whatever number he wants. But what this entire conversation's about, though, is, we like to say we're a nation of laws. It turns out not so much. We're a nation of extraordinary discretion.
And norms.
And norms.
Yes.
And character counts. And what this shows is you've got a constitution, you've got laws, you've got procedures, but it only protects so much. It only takes you so far. And what we're seeing now really is a radical shift in our politics, where discretion and executive discretion, everything we've talked about, we haven't gotten to the prime minister, essentially, which is Elon Musk, but you create all these mechanisms where you essentially do end runs around constitutional procedures, around the laws, and you realize how vulnerable a democracy is to the character and the agendas of those who wield power.
Jonathan, author of The Big Lie here. Knowing Donald Trump and knowing how he relates to this issue, he spent a couple of years saying he was going to pardon these people and that they were political prisoners and patriots. He just won the popular vote in the country. Is that not your understanding of Donald Trump as a student of him? That what he thinks is he has a mandate to do the things he said on the campaign trail. I don't think there's any reason to think he's not going to do this, because I think he thinks the politics are in his favor.
Here's your answer. The very first rally he had in this presidential campaign cycle was in
Waco,
March of 2023 in Waco, Texas, a location that already drew eyebrows for its association with the Branch Davidians. What was the very first thing that happened at that rally? The January 6th convict choir played a song. There's your answer.